Hi, I'm Lisa. Welcome to the Simply Healthy Kitchen. Today I want to share with you a way to make guacamole simple, healthy, and tasty, but then to mix it up a couple of ways. Even do your own. Let's get chopping. Okay, to start our basic guacamole, we're going to use 3 avocados, and you simply put your knife in the avocado, run it around the median, turn it kind of like you might do an Oreo if you've ever had an Oreo, and then you lay the avocado on the counter, put your knife in, twist, and the seed comes out just like that. You might have a little discoloration depending on how ripe your avocados are. This avocado is going to taste delicious in our guacamole. No worries. I'm going to do the same for the other 2 avocados, and then we're going to mash it up in our bowl, and then we'll add our other ingredients. Okay, now we just mash up the avocado. Have any aggressions you need to get out? This might help a little bit. I don't feel that way. I just like seeing it turn into a nice creamy green mash that I know in a few minutes is going to taste delicious with all the other ingredients in it. Okay. If you like your guacamole really smooth, then you'll want to mash it up even further. I like a little bit of chunkiness in my guacamole, so I'm going to leave it right like this. Okay, next up, we're going to add our onions, and I will add 2 green onions. Just chop them to your desired consistency. I don't like huge chunks of onion, but I like, I don't know, you can probably see these are, I don't know, a millimeter or 2. So just give them a good chop. I like the white part and the green part in my guacamole. If you don't, if you just like the white, just use the white. If you like the green, use the green. It's up to you. That's the beauty of this recipe and a lot of things that I make. What I'm sharing with you is really just a guide. It's a beginning, and then fine tune it to you, your family's taste, or your own taste. I bet if you tune it to your taste and you're cooking for your family probably has similar taste. After all, if you're doing the cooking, they're probably appreciative that you are doing the cooking and they don't have to cook. All right, we've got our onion in here. Next, we're going to add some jalapeno. And did you know that there's a way to tell if a jalapeno is hot or not? And that is the jalapenos that have these little brown kind of lines on them. This one doesn't have that, but the ones that do, they are hotter. I tested out that theory by buying some that didn't have those little brown lines, and then the ones that did, and sure enough, it was. Now, I haven't done it enough to know if every single time I buy a jalapeno with those brown lines, they're going to be hot, but hey, it is something to note, and you know, try out if you like hot jalapenos. Also, the membrane, this is where a lot of the heat is. If your jalapeno is hot, if you don't like a lot of spice, don't put it in. I kind of like it medium, so I like to leave a little bit of the ribs in, and yeah, chop them in there. So the jalapeno I like to chop into, I want people to get a little bite of it, but I don't want them to get a huge chunk of it. So I don't know if you can see how big those pieces are. That's about the size I like to put in my guacamole. And by the way, every time I've made this guacamole, people ask me for the recipe. It's so super simple and fresh. I just like the ingredients to all do the shining. I don't want to cover them up with a lot of other flavor. And therefore I don't use garlic in mine. If you like garlic, put it in yours. Okay, so a great way to test to see if your jalapeno is hot or not is to just take a little slice, because you seriously never know. You look at them, I mean, I have tried out, like I said, the veining on it, and it seems to work, but another way is just to take a little slice, touch just the outer part to your tongue. This one has like the tiniest bit of, and then touch the membrane. There's the heat. Wait for it. The membrane in this one. So if I take all the membrane out, I'm not gonna have any heat in this. So I am gonna leave the membrane in the rest of the jalapeno and chop it into the dip so that I got a little heat. I like a little heat. If you don't like heat, don't put it in. You like a lot of heat, put the whole thing in there. Make sure to wash your hands afterward though, because you rub your eyes with this on your hands, it's not gonna feel so great. All right, one whole jalapeno. Next, we're gonna get some cilantro in there. And for 3 avocados, I'll probably use, I kind of like a lot of cilantro. So I take the cilantro and I just bend it around so it's almost like bent in 4s, and hold it down tight and then just chop away. Cilantro, if you've ever chopped cilantro, it ends up sticking to your fingers. I mean, it is the stickiest herb I have ever used. I don't know why. Those little leaves are just really delicate, and they just stick. So that's not too bad. Add our cilantro in there. You can always add more. It's difficult to take out if you don't, you know, if you get too much in there. So go ahead and start conservatively. You can always add more to your guacamole, whatever you do. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is add just a little bit of salt and sprinkle on the top, a pinch of black pepper. We're gonna go ahead and mix that up and then add the lime juice. That's the way I like to do it. I can kind of see exactly how much lime I'm getting in there, and it varies because, as you know, you go to the store and you might get a gigantic lime and you might get a tiny lime, and the juice in them is not the same. And even with the sizes, you can't tell how much juice is in that lime. Sometimes there's a ton of juice in a little lime, and sometimes there's not much juice in a big lime. So, you know, it's all about just trial and error, making it work for you. Okay, that's nice and incorporated. And now we're gonna add our lime juice. All right, so again, I like to just use my fingers to have the juice go through. And remember what I said about them being juicy or not? This lime is not that juicy. Okay, so I got a different lime, and hopefully it'll be more juicy, but if not, 2 lime squeezes is good. Oh yeah, this is a little better. All right, we're gonna mix up the lime into the guacamole, and then we're gonna try it. You ready? I am. Okay, we've stirred in the lime juice, and now I'm ready to taste it. I can't wait. I love guacamole. You might have gathered that. It's delicious. Creamy. I can taste the cilantro. Just a tiny bit of heat from the jalapeno. I think it needs just a little bit more salt. And maybe just a hit more pepper. Again, season to your taste. This is just me. Now, I promised you a couple of other ways to mix this guacamole up. One way is to add tomatillos. Tomatillos are delicious. They're high in vitamin C. They give this like really good kind of citrusy crunch, believe it or not, to your guacamole. So just cut these up into small little cubes, add it to your guacamole. People will say, "What is this? It's delicious." You know the secret, it's tomatillos. Another thing, believe it or not, and my producer is telling me no way, but wait until he tries it. It is actually dried cranberries. I have put these dried cranberries, now these are orange flavored dried cranberries, in my guacamole and taken it to parties, and people are just go wild for it. They want to know what it is, and they've never tasted it before, but it tastes delicious. Don't knock it till you try it. Another thing, sun-dried tomatoes. You can get the oil kind and then you don't have to soak them, or if you get the dried kind, you do need to soak them in a little water, chop them up, add them to your guacamole, voila. You've just got 3 new ways to make guacamole. Sometimes I add jicama to it. Jicama is this root that's white and fleshy, a little bit sweet, really crispy. It's delicious in it as well. What other ways can you think of to mix up your guacamole? We've just taken this ordinary guacamole and I've given you 3 ways to amp it up. I hope you've enjoyed our time together, and if so, hit that subscribe button, or better yet, the notification bell, and you'll be made aware every time I come up with a new recipe to share with you, right here in the Simply Healthy Kitchen. See you next time.